My name is Catherine Barnes. I am 21 years old. I'm a music performance major from San Diego, California. I had a private percussion teacher that I studied with in high school who had been to Ghana lots of times, and he had in his office, he taught at a university in San Diego, he had all of these African drums, and we never studied any of them because I was very much on the conservatory track, and I wanted to learn timpani and snare drum and marimba and all these things that we have to learn, all the things that I really study in depth here. And I used to always look at them and think, oh, I really want to know how to do that, I really want to know how to do that. And I knew that he had he would take students to Africa sometimes in the summer. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll get to go with him one day. Well, that never happened. What wound up happening was I met someone here who was a sociology major, and she had gotten an undergraduate research grant to go to Tanzania. And I was talking with her, and I was telling her I really wanted to study drumming in Ghana, and she said, oh, get a grant. My research specifically, because I couldn't just get the grant to go over there and study drumming, I had to have a research focus. And so I decided to research the relationship between time in Ewe culture and Ewe music to time in American culture, or we'll say Western culture, like the European American tradition, but time in Western culture and Western music. Because the thing that really interests me about Ewe music versus Western music is that time does not function in the same way at all. Okay, here in our music we quantify time. Okay, we have numbers. You count beats. There's always a beat 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Always you have this reference point of beat 1. And in Ewe music it doesn't work that way at all. Everything is related to a bell. Okay, the bell is the conductor. Here, I'll show you right now. Check this out. This right here, this is the conductor for all of Ewe music. This is called it has 3 names, okay? It's either called a tingo, or a gankogui, or what's the other one? I think they just call it bell. Okay, so there you go. There's 3 names for this guy. And this rhythm that I'm going to play, this is the beat that they sort of organize all of their music. Okay, so check this out. You hear that? That's the way all of their music is organized, okay? It's not about numbers, it's just, you listen to that. I'm sure all of you have heard of sort of the stereotype of, Africa time where, people are late, things don't happen when they're scheduled to, and things like that. And that's not just in Africa, that's in a lot of other cultures too. But, you hear jokes made like that by both Africans and, European, people of European descent. And I think I was interested in, well, is there some kind of relationship between that and what happens in the music? And what I figured out was, here, like I said, we quantify time, and we talk about, this has to happen at 4:30 because the time, the schedule, the number is more important than whatever you're doing before that, okay? Whereas in Africa, it's about events, okay? So let's say something's scheduled at 4:30, okay? But before that, I don't finish whatever I'm doing before, and so I'm late. Well, that's okay because the event is what's important, whereas here, it's the time and the schedule that's important, and so we're quantifying it, just like we do in our music. It sort of relates back to that old cliche, like, music is the international language, you know what I mean? If there's anything that I've learned through this research, not only studying Ewe drumming, but studying, the music of other cultures, period, music is not an international language. Music is very much, like, from culture to culture. It's the same thing as, like, English versus Ewe. It's not an international thing. And it's very, very hard for people who've only studied Western music to listen to Ewe music, or lots of other different types of music, even Indian music, or the music of other African societies. It's hard for them to listen to it and know what's going on. Like, for example, when the musicologists from Europe started going down to Africa in, I want to say the late 19th century, and they heard this drumming, it just sounded like noise to them. They went, oh, they're savages, listen, this is noise. No, it's not noise, they just didn't understand how to understand it. This is a rattle. The Ewe word for it is hatsu, but they just call it rattle all the time. And some of you maybe are familiar with Afro-Cuban music, which has a lot of Nigerian influence, and they play the rattle like this, but in Ewe music they play it on their knee, okay? And you play between your knee and your hand, and what its job is to do is to sort of embellish on the bell pattern. So remember, the bell pattern was, I know I've done this like 3 times, but we're doing it again just so I can make my point. Okay, bell pattern. Whoops, that's not it. Okay, rattle. On your knee, you're playing that. And then on the rebound, okay, it comes up and hits your hand. So you're going. You hear it? So. Okay, and that makes it, that helps you a lot with singing, because in the singing, the songs all start at a different point in the bell pattern, and some of them don't start like right on a beat, they start right after it. And so the rattle helps you, because you're filling in the extra beats with your left hand, and yeah, it also sounds cool.